Alright, so you may be wondering what I'm doing with this DRO. If you saw the video that I recently put out on doing the installation of the linear scales and the DROs on my mill. But this was actually the first one that came to me in the kit. And unfortunately, it had a rough ride over from China, so you can see the display is pushed in. And when I power it up, it doesn't work. It's got a big mark on it right there. So I contacted the eBay seller, and they were kind enough to send me a replacement. And so, since they're not so expensive, I think this model is like $125. It's the DRO Auto brand. And so he didn't want it back. He just sent me a replacement. So I figured that I would have a look-see if this thing could be fixed, or just see what's inside of it, because it's kind of loose. I think it's had a bad life. So if I turn it on, you can see that it beeps, hopefully. Yep, so it beeps just like the other one. And the little buttons beep. All that stuff works. So all that's working, but the display doesn't come on. And if you could see real close, there's a little faint line right there that looks like it's trying to display, but nothing's working. So I think the display's bad. So what I decided to do was to see if I could fix it. So I opened it up just to look inside of it, and got the display's model number. And so for 25 bucks, you can get a replacement. And so right here is the replacement display that matches up with the ribbon. And so maybe we can fix this little guy and just see if maybe we can make him work. So I was going to take it apart anyway and just see what it looks like. So let's go back in here. Like I said, I took the back off before, and we can have a look-see at it. So inside of here, there appears to be not much. So it looks like a power board, and then the power comes over here and feeds this board. So we'll disconnect that and get all this out of the way. These are the connections for the scales. So we can take them loose. Keep up with our little screws for the back. So what we got going on here, this is where I got the number off of it. It's got a little number right here on it. And so this is the cable that goes down to the display, comes off of the control board. So if we take the control board loose, we can see that there's really not a lot to this thing. I probably should be wearing a static band or something like that, but you know, hey, for 25 bucks just to see if it'll live. I mean, it made it all the way from China, so maybe it'll live. So that should lift off, except for that little cable. And so let me pop the cable loose. So we just got to get its little tabs pulled forward like that. And we can get the cable loose. And let's lay this guy over this way. So here's our display, and it looks like it jumped the screws right here when it took its impact. So let's take him back out. Alright, so let's pop that guy out of there. So here's our little broke display, and I'm assuming it took some damage or something. I don't know, it seems loose. But yeah, it's kind of on that corner right there is broken. So we could probably pull it apart and see what's inside of it, but I'd give odds the little display's probably messed up. So what we're going to do is try to replace that display out. So we got our new $25 made in China display. So let's pop him in here and see if we can make this thing work. Maybe, just maybe, we'll be successful. Need one more good screw. Let me go see if I can find a screw. And let's see if maybe we can catch the edge of one of these other holes that's in here. Alright, so now it's got our little display held back in place. So let's peel up our new cable. lay this back over. So as you can see, there's not much to it. It's basically a display, some type of controller board, and then the power supply, and then the connections for, got a broke wire. Oh, something else got happened. So that's one of the wires that goes up here, so we're going to have to resolder that before we hook it all back up. But maybe we can power it up without that, and then we'll have a look, see what's going on. So now what I want to do is get this little cable back in there. So let's flip him back forward. Alright, so I got to solder that because it looks like that got broke in shipping too. But let's see if we can power it up. So we'll hook the power to it. Like that. Yeah, we'll give it a little bit of power on the power supply. And let's turn it on and just see what it does. So hold that up like that. Let's power it up. So let's see what it does now. Hey! So it was the display. So all it did was, in the shipping, it damaged that little $25 display. So those can be had, I think I said eBay, but I think I bought that on Amazon. So you just have to look up the part number that's on the little tag for the display. They're used on quite a few things, so they're pretty common. So now, everything is probably working. So there we go. Well, alright, I just got to resolder my little wire real quick. And I should have a backup display. So let's get our little wire resoldered. So we should be in good shape. Alright, now we got everybody soldered back up, so let's put it all back together. And there we go. Now we're relatively rattle free. Oh, that thing's rattling. There we go. So now we got our display. So let's power him up and see if this thing's gonna work. So the axis in the back that had the bad wire was the center one. So let's just hook him up and see if he's gonna work. We'll give it some power. And we can see we got our screen back, so everything's working good there. So now, when we grab our axis, if I slide it, yeah, she's working fine. Zero. It's reading in metric, I'm assuming. Yeah, so it's reading metric. So let's switch it back. Zero there. And we can see for the 6-inch scale, it is happily working now. There we go. So we can just check the other ones while I'm at it. So I'll move it up to the x-axis. So here's the x-axis. Yep. It's working fine. And we'll put it on the z-axis. And that one's working fine as well. So there we go. So if you do encounter one that has a bad display, then these displays can be had for around 25 bucks. You just have to look up that part number that's stuck to it and buy another one, and then you'll have your DROs back working again. Well, there we go. Alrighty. Well, thanks for watching.